Have you ever considered van life, an extended stay, living and driving around the country in a van?
He took a shower today.
Can't hear anything, it's a waterfall.
It's something that I have talked to my wife Michelle about quite a lot. She is not quite sold on the idea, but she was okay with us doing it for a week, and that's what we've been doing for the past week. We have been living and traveling around West Virginia, and in this video I'm going to talk about the van exactly that we've been living in for the past week, and then some of the general pros and cons about van life. So if you've ever been interested in van life, I think you'll enjoy this video. Let's just start off why I'm interested in this. I have been on a pursuit of living a more intentional and simple life, and if you can fit all your worldly possessions into a vehicle, well, it's pretty simple and pared down. I definitely try to preference experiences over material goods, and van life really would make that easier, or so I think, at least the dream that I have in my head. So those are my reasons for wanting to do van life. Now this particular van right here, we rented it off Outdoorsy from a company called Vander, and the van is a build out from Cascade Campers. None of those companies sponsored me. I'm just making this video because I want to share with you guys my thoughts about my van life experience. But I would really appreciate it if you liked this video. Thanks. So this van right here is a Dodge Ram ProMaster City. It is a relatively small van, and it is not a camper van where you can stand up in. There are vans like the larger Sprinter vans where I could stand up in, but those are much bigger vans than this guy is. And it's kind of like a transformer on the inside. It packs a lot in there, but you have to constantly play Tetris with all of your stuff as you convert the van into a bed. Some of the features of the van: it has its own water and sink, which is really nice, just for being on the go and having lots of extra water, especially if you're out camping and hiking, maybe off the grid for a little bit. In addition to living that off-the-grid lifestyle, it has a solar panel up top, and then lots of places to plug in things, USB ports for charging electronic devices, and then a standard plug if you wanted to power your laptop, but it can't handle any big stuff, so laptop is probably about pushing it for you there. It also has a small little fridge, or it can be a fridge or a freezer, but it can't be both. That's been nice for keeping fresh food with us throughout the trip. Usually when I'm out camping or backpacking, if I bring fresh food, that's the meal on the first night, and everything else is going to be a dehydrated camper meal. But we have been able to have fresh ingredients for most of our meals this whole trip, which has been really nice. The couch turns into a bed, and it is cozy. It's almost a full-size bed, I think, but given the shape, it is a little snug, but it converts right out. But when it does convert out, you can't access any of the under couch storage. There's several bins there holding some food ingredients, clothing, utensils, cookware, and things like that. So that's the main parts of the sort of the van life, the dwelling of the van. It's got different lights, a regular light, a reading light, and then a red light at night. Has a nice fan, and then an exhaust fan to help circulate that air, because if you're in a closed up vehicle, it can get pretty stuffy pretty quick. Now for the pros of the van. I am used to backpacking and tent camping, and I have to say the van is nice. It's much easier to convert than setting up the tent. It is a little bit warmer than a tent, which can be nice depending on the season. Also, don't really have to worry that much about rain, because even the most well-constructed tent, even during a decent rainstorm, things are going to get a little damp. No problem with the van there. It is snug, but since I'm used to backpacker tents, that's been okay. And it's been nice too to be able to drive around with all of our stuff contained and not have to break everything down, pack it up. It's just all right there. We spent a night camping up in a parking lot where I don't think you're supposed to, but we weren't the only ones doing it. But we were able to see the sunset, do some astrophotography, see some beautiful stars, and then also watch the sunrise. And we wouldn't have been able to do that unless we had this van, because otherwise there wouldn't be any really good camping spots up there. It's kind of exposed on top of this mountaintop, but it was easy with the van. Now, some of the cons with van life that I have noticed. You definitely have to be a minimalist in your possessions, but this van definitely pushes it for 2 people. If it was just me solo traveling in this van, I think it would be a little bit easier, but having both clothing, personal items, and food for 2 people in there, it gets a little tight. Also gets tight on the sleeping. You know, I'm not necessarily a big person. I'm tall, but I'm not that big. Michelle's not a big person, but I don't think we can actually lay down on our backs together, or if we do, my shoulder is touching one wall and her other shoulder is touching the wall, and we're pressed up against each other. So it's not that wide, and the mattress is not all that comfortable, which is to be expected for any type of converting couch to bed futon thing. If I was doing this more long term, I would want a bigger van solely for the purpose of having a dedicated mattress that didn't fold and was a little bit more substantial. It would also give me some more room for some different items. Having like a gear cubby in the back, that would be nice as well. It's been great having the stove with the van, but the type of stove that is with this van uses a butane cylinder to power it, and they're apparently very hard to find, at least where we are in West Virginia. You could find the Coleman style ones for those stovetops. You could even find the ones for like backpacker stoves and jet boils, but we could not find the butane ones once we ran out, and we had to do a 2.5 hour round trip journey to a Walmart to be able to pick them up. So be aware that if you are going more remote and you have one of these style stoves, bring lots of extra. I've noticed that for us, you can get about 5-6 meals out of one cylinder and then it's shot. So for extended stays, you're gonna need several cylinders. We started off with 2 and burned through them pretty quickly. Otherwise, it has been a good experience. I know I would do this again, do it longer term, with just a few little tweaks here and there of how I would maybe want the van set up a little bit bigger for a full-size bed. But overall, it has been good. So I definitely encourage you, if you're interested in van life, check out Outdoorsy. I'll have a link down below. It's essentially Airbnb for camper vans. And if you're in the DC area, Vander is a local company, a guy with a bunch of these vans. So you can definitely check them out if you want to try out one of these vans. Smaller, but at the same time, much easier to drive than a big giant Sprinter van, which could be a little bit unwieldy. Yes, it's nice to have a bathroom and be able to stand up, but that thing's probably a beast, especially if you're driving on curvy roads of West Virginia. So that's all for me in this video. Let me know if you have any questions about van life and my experience. If I didn't answer them in this video, I will answer them as you leave comments below. Thank you very much. My name is Tyler Lloyd, and this is my YouTube channel, all about living a happier, healthier, more sustainable life. See you later. Bye.